What's going on, guys? Welcome to We Got a Problem. Now, before we get into it, I'm going to start doing a weekly Discord chat with you guys. So if you want to be involved in this chat, or you just want to join and talk with me and other viewers, then the link will be down below. Now, while browsing Twitter, I came across a tweet by the Tony Blair Institute. Now, they don't appear to be very happy with the current Labour leader. It seems Commissar Corbyn has been running his mouth about the governments over the past 30 years, including the Tony Blair Labour government. Well, the former Labour Prime Minister and soy boy fuckpig Tony Blair has responded to the current Labour leader, Commissar Corbyn's comments last week. The comments made by the Commissar stated that for decades we have been told that inequality doesn't matter because the education system will allow talented and hardworking people to succeed from any background. Now, I don't like Tony Blair in the slightest. He's on a whole nother level of shitweasels in my opinion, but he calls out Comrade Corbyn off for his bad politics and bad history, which is pretty funny. Let's watch it.
I don't often respond to the leader of the Labour Party's attacks on the last Labour government, but enough is enough. Last Saturday, Jeremy Corbyn said,
"For decades, we've been told that inequality doesn't matter because the education system will allow talented and hardworking people to succeed whatever their background."
This is the latest repetition of a charge that's become something of a mantra. Only last year, Jeremy said that working class communities have been hit by decades of failed economic policies, and that for 30 years, the media and the establishment have tried to tell us that class doesn't matter anymore and that we should ditch any idea of representing and advancing the interests of the working class. Note the decades, the 30 years. In other words, Thatcher government, last Labour government, 10 years of Tory austerity, it's all the same. All one unbroken line, all one policy, all one ideology. This is bad politics and worse history, and it is time to set the record straight. The period 1997 to 2010 saw the most dramatic improvements in our public services, with the largest ever peacetime investment in them. With results, between 1997 and 2009, the average wait for hospital inpatient care fell from just over 13 weeks to 4 weeks. There were over 44,000 new doctors in the NHS, over 80,000 more nurses. Teacher numbers rose by almost 50,000 and support staff by over 200,000. By 2010, 76% of English pupils were achieving 5 good GCSEs compared with 45% in 1997. And the London Challenge programme for London schools, for example, saw the most dramatic improvements in any major capital city anywhere in the world. And other parts of the country and other communities were not forgotten. In 1999, for example, my government agreed a £2 billion investment and settlement for miners suffering from bronchitis and emphysema. By 2005, 350,000 of them have received compensation. And when we look at pensioners and child poverty, we lifted over 1 million pensioners out of poverty, over 1 million children out of poverty. We made a radical and dramatic impact on the living standards of millions of the poorest in our communities. A report by the respected Institute for Fiscal Studies showed the distributional impact of the tax and benefit changes under that last Labour government. The poorest 10% of households gained by something like 13% of their incomes, whilst the richest 10% lost by almost 9%. An OECD report on social mobility published last year showed that the UK during this period bucked the trend in social mobility in the world's richest nations and had the largest fall of any nation in immobility and the biggest rise in social mobility. We made the UK more equal, more fair and more socially mobile. And we never ever said inequality didn't matter or that tackling it was not a priority of the government. And by the way, what we did at home, we also did abroad. Trebling help to the poorest countries, mobilizing the international community in support of action against global poverty, and becoming the first major developed nation to hit the 0.7 of GDP aid target. Of course, like any government, we had faults, failures, and did things people disagreed with. But don't tell me, or those who worked with me, or those who were part of the Labour Party at the time, that we did nothing for the poorest in our country or the world. We did, and we're proud of it.
Blair actually laughed when he said bad politics and worse history before showing him some facts about how his Labour government got the whole country in debt, while conveniently leaving out how this shit weasel took us into 2 wars we had no business being involved in. But this video, it would seem the Labour Party are so messed up they will attack each other, forcing Tony the shitweasel Blair to come out and say enough is enough to Commissar Corbyn's attacks on the previous Labour governments. Is this an attempt by Tony Blair to sway the members of the Labour Party into getting rid of the Commissar? I mean, surely it's not a good thing for the current leader to shit-talk the previous leader and his ministers, forcing the warmonger Tony Blair to come out and call him out. It goes to show the current crisis in the Labour Party for Tony Blair to come out and rubbish the Communist Party's current commissar, though. It's tearing itself apart from the inside by the looks of it. Now, personally, I'm not sure how Corbyn came to the conclusion that inequality has been ignored. We have the Equality Act from 2010. Equality is the #1 priority these days. But equality now means oppressing men, especially if they're white and straight. Now, it's a sign of equality, if you ask me, that Corbyn is even the leader of the Labour Party. Since he is an IRA sympathiser after all, it goes to show that even someone with a background like him can succeed in life. So there's equality for him. I'm not sure what he's talking about. But that's going to be the end of the video. It's just a quick one. I thought I would bring you the small snippet of the Labour Party's infighting. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments about this spat between the 2 shit weasels. I'm always interested to see them. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.